Hello, viewer, and welcome back to Games with Dialogue. This is episode 67 of my RPG Maker series. Last time, I worked on some of the monsters the player will run into leaving Skill Shrine City. This time, I'm going to back up a bit and work on the traps and the puzzles for the Skill Shrine itself. So, I got a lot to cover. Let's dive right in. So what I want to do, I've been thinking about it. What I want to do is split each puzzle up into its own separate room. So I'm going to create test of skill room 2. Room 2. Okay, test of skill room 3. I'm going to take this big room here, the button room and the ball pushing room, and make them their own thing. I think it'll just work out better. Room 3. I think there's a lot more pros to having everything split up instead of one big room like this. My big problem with the way I have it set up now is that I am limited by where I can put everything. Oh, you know what? It's got to be inside. Actually, it should be dungeon, I think. This way I can loop the room for specific skills. Like if I want this ice sliding puzzle room to loop around on itself, I can make it its own separate entity and customize it that way. Actually, hold on. Can I, if I right click it, can I carry it over here and then I can. Awesome. And then I can just adjust it as I need to, as I feel like. Skill room 3, let's do the same thing. Edit dungeon. Well, we'll make it 30 by 30, and then I can shrink it or raise it as I feel it needs the room for it. Black. There we go. Come back up here. Take this one. I'm not even sure I want to do the button pushing one. I've been going over how I want to do the different puzzles for the game, for the shrine, and the button pushing is a good example of things that I have been considering and want to change, I guess. We'll make a new one for the ball room down here. Test of skill. Originally, I was thinking with the button pushing that it had to be pattern based. That the player would have to go in a certain order and push the buttons while there was a timer. Then I thought that was ridiculous and wasn't going to work. And I wanted to just make it a timer where you had to get every button pushed within a certain amount of time. And I thought maybe that was just not going to work either. And then I thought, what about just making it a timer puzzle again, but different, where each button only stays pressed for a certain amount of time, and it's a race through the room to get every button pushed before the timer runs out and the button turns off or depresses and you have to go back and push it again. I wonder if I should... I'm just going to save them for now. I was thinking about deleting them, but I'm just going to save them. So that means with everything dedicated to its own puzzle section, I can actually make this bigger if I want to, more complicated, and I can actually make this bigger. And I can actually move these away from each other, so that when the player enters down this one, you know what? Let me start in the corner here. Move it up. They won't be able to see the crystal from where they're at. So I'm going to actually put this up here in the corner. There we go. And I can actually get rid of this. I want to hide it for the time being. And then delete this. I can make this actually bigger if I want to. I'm going to do that. Mostly so I can get an altar in here, but also because their confrontation with the succubus needs to be different than the way I had it originally. Up. And over, and there we go. And I'll put it... If I put it here, it should be out of sight of the player up here. I hope. That's the idea. Okay. So, I'm kind of scatterbrained right now, but the important thing is that test room 4 links here, down in the bottom, and I'm just gonna, there we go. Once the crystal is activated, the succubus is defeated, and the player has their new skill, classes, their new classes. The back room, the back door here opens up. This path is revealed, and it comes back to the entrance, which I want right there. So right there, I think. It doesn't matter if the player can see this from the crystal room, but I don't want them, when they initially come through this staircase, to be able to see this. So I'm going to have to test that. But once they clear the puzzle in this room, they'll get transported to test room 2. That's how I want it to go. All right, so let me come over here and get these. Cut. Well, I don't want to start placing them because I want to adjust this room. And I'm actually probably going to just move this out of the way. I put it there for demonstration purposes, but I'm probably going to move it again if I alter this room at all. Yeah, let's start by putting these out. Paste. I was debating whether or not to make this a simple grid, like a 3x3. That's how a lot of other games do it. I wanted to be unique, and then I tried to implement it, and I think for my first time building puzzles in RPG Maker, I should keep to it simple. Once I have some experience building it, once I have some knowledge and some experience under my belt, I can work on making something that's more uniquely me. Something a little more complicated, something a little more signature. But for now, anyways, you get the idea. I can do this off camera. Transfer all of these over here. I think what I want to do with this particular puzzle is make it so that the two are linked to each other. What I mean is, when a player steps on one button over here, it not only adjusts the surrounding buttons, but it also affects the buttons over here. So in this case, what I have set up so far, well, and these buttons over here, but imagine they're where they're supposed to be over here. In this case, let's say that the player, you know what, I'm going to actually zoom in because this is ridiculous. Okay, that should be better. Everybody should be able to see it okay now? Great, good, all right. If the player steps on this button, these 3 buttons will pop up while this one depresses. But over here, the same thing happens, right? The thing is, this button, the one that's supposed to be right here and right here are all depressed already. Are all pressed already. Sorry. So nothing should happen to this one because it's already in. But this one, and this one will depress just like these three over here. Meaning these three and these three are now in sync with each other, right? The goal is to have all of them pressed for the door to open. I don't know if that's too complicated for what I'm trying to do. I don't know if that's too complicated for my skill level. I just think it might be an interesting twist on the old push all the buttons puzzle. Because some people are really good at that. I'm not great, but I can do it. And some people hate it with a passion. But I can't really do anything about that because they're going to hate this whole shrine. It's designed to have puzzles. And if you're bad at puzzles, then I'm sorry. I want the entryway to be different too. The shrine is just kind of bare bones the way I have it set up right now. It's definitely not like the knowledge shrine. Where did you go? Where I have some lighting, I have some decoration with these bookshelves. The top of the shrine, sure. And this shrine could even use a little decoration, but I wanted to give each shrine its own feel, you know? Like in here. I wanted to give each shrine its own feel. This one's a ruin. It's run down. The forest has started to reclaim it. It's got its own personality. I don't have any light sources, which I just realized. But the skill shrine... I think part of my problem with the skill shrine is just, ugh. The design is all over the place. I'm going to actually have to come in and fix that because I definitely don't like it. But this is just too bare bones. I think, especially with the entrance, I want to change that. But that can come later. You know, I can work on that as it comes. Where were the stone? There we go. Not the stone, the metal grate. So, the player comes down the stairs, pushes the buttons, gets everything working, opens up the next section. How do I want over here or down here? I think I want it over here. So it'll come this way. And then I want to connect to the next room. How can I do that? I don't want it to just walk off into darkness. You know, it actually doesn't have to... It doesn't have to obey any kind of laws of physics. Because it's just going to be... It's just going to be an empty room. It's just a transfer point. So it doesn't have to look at all... It doesn't have to look at all realistic. If I put that there, and I move that, make that there. Okay. So we can do this. Well, oh, I see what the problem is. Right. I was wondering about that. What if I do a door here instead? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, this is the problem. Because I don't want the player to just walk out a couple of steps in an empty void. So maybe it would actually be better if I did. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. That it looks like that. This ceiling removes. And then the player walks over here. And then I need... At the transfer point, I need something. I'm gonna actually make a transfer point. Well, no, because if I change up the room... Yeah, I'm trying to get an explanation of what I'm doing, but at the same time, I'm going to change up the room, and I'm going to change up the layout of this. So making a transfer point will just be adding another square that I'm going to need to delete or move. So there's no point in making one right now. I'm going to come back here to the entrance point, because that's the big sticking point for me right this moment. Let's see here. Want that. I want that. Okay. We want some light sources. So what can I do? What would be a good light source? Let's make a new one. What would be a good light source? Let's see here. Flame. There we go. I don't like... Bonfires obviously aren't going to work. Fire pits. I don't want to use these electrical lights. I don't want to use the candelabras either. That really only leaves these torches on the wall. You know, it's a real shame I don't have a green flame here for the test of skill. What about... Where were the... Oh, yeah, this one. Does that look okay on the wall there? Probably not. Okay. Well, let's edit it then. Where were... Oh, these yeah, of course. This would look 100 times better. Okay, you know what? That would look a whole lot better. Delete. We'll put those, braziers. Great. What is the word I'm thinking of? I think it's brazier. I can't remember. I can't remember how to pronounce it. But we'll put one there, and it should go right there. And then I'll have another one right here. Actually, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? Because the fire is fine. Any of these three squares. But I want... Oh, I can put it right... Well, no. If I put it right here, it'll be on top of the wall. Not behind it. That's a problem. Alright, you know what? Let's move it here. Paste. Then I can put another one... I'll put another one over here. Actually, hold on. Copy. Paste. I want 2 down here. And that's okay, because if it's 2 spaces high, the way the wall's constructed, the player can still get past it. That's fine. Oh, wait. I don't want one right there because the wall's going to move. I do want one right here. And I want one right here. And then I would need to move these buttons down 1. In which case I might as well make the room a little bigger, right? Because I need to move the buttons down 1. And that means they'll be in... These ones will be in the way of this torch. Oh, wait. That's my fault. There we go. Which means I gotta move everything down. Ah. Alright. Fine. So be it. No, I think that's fine right there. Yeah, I was gonna have it be... It's fine. It's fine. The entrance right there is fine. But I do need to move this. Cut. Paste. Cut. Paste. And then I'm gonna have to move all these. But that's fine. Alright, so that's the lighting in this room. And I think every puzzle room that has a lighting source will either have one of these or one of those glowing light balls. Actually, let's do... do the glowing light balls look like... Maybe this one. I don't know. I'm not quite as big on that. Maybe one of these. Oh. Yeah, I haven't used these before. I just... Ugh, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'll use it. At least until I get a good look at it in-game while I'm testing it. Then we'll see. Oh, okay, hold on. I need to go back because I've forgotten what it looks like. Outpost. The purple dragon. Right. I want to put that down here. Right. So I just need to find it. This one. Beautiful. Okay. I actually am going to get rid of it right there. That's a bad placement. But right there is fine. Should I have carpet? Nah, I think this is fine. But is there anything else I can use? These columns might... Where would I put these columns if I was going to do that? This one here? They just don't really match the decor. Yeah, I'm not going to use them in this room. Not here. What about... I was debating whether or not to give it some damage look, like these cracks in the walls. But this is a fairly well-maintained shrine, unlike the Battle Shrine or the Shrine of Knowledge. People keep this thing up to date. Oh, you know what I can do? Is put, well, maybe not that one. I'll put that there. Yeah, this will give the player the rules. So I can make an event. We'll say... Skill Shrine Rules. Plaque. Okay. And then we can just do a text thing. Just filler for the moment. Let's see what test number 1. Okay. Test number 1. And then okay. Sure. Test number 1. Hit all the buttons. Okay, wait. Is part of the test figuring out what you have to do. I always hated those kind of puzzles in games like Myst and the like walking adventure games. I don't know what the genre is called, but like Myst, where you're presented with a puzzle and at first you have no idea what you have to do. I think instead of explaining what the player has to do, that the plaque could just tell them you have 5 tests to get through to get to the crystal. After this room, meaning the room that the plaque is in, you will be unable to return to the surface until you've finished all the tests. Until you've made it through the shrine. Until the trial is complete. Okay? And then, let's see here. Middle. Preview. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, okay. And then another... We'll put that in the middle. Good. Fantastic. Do I want a third? No. No, I don't want a third thing. I might later, but that's fine. All right, I've wasted enough time on a simple plaque. What else can I do here? I suppose I could have... I don't want too much clutter in here. That's the problem. So what else can I do? A mirror? A clock? You know what? A clock. Sure. We can do a clock. Where are we going to put a clock in here? And I can have... Oh, God. Okay, so what if I have no music in the first room? Right? But I have... let's see here. Sound effects. Make sure it's not too loud. Oh, they don't have it. Maybe they... Oh, that's a shame. Am I sure they don't have it? Nope. Well, that's a shame. I was going to have just the ticking of the clock. You come down the stairs, you pass the threshold into the first trial, into the first challenge, and then there's no background music. It's just tick, 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 tick. God, that would drive me crazy. Maybe it's for the best that I don't implement something that's so obviously meant to drive the player bonkers. What is... Okay, it's not a person breathing, it's dragon breath. Open. I could see that working. That... Yeah. Yeah, that plays when the buttons... Yeah. Okay. You know, I don't have to keep clicking play. I can just double click. Open 1 sounds close to what I'm looking for. No, that's all magic-y stuff. Let's see. Nope. Save, scream, sheep, shop, shot. No. Sound? That's the in. No. Nope. Oh boy. Switch. Here we are. That sounds like a ticking clock. It's faster to do it this way. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh god. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just stay away from the clock like I said I was going to. Oh, dear god. Up? What? No. Nah, it's all magic-y stuff. Yeah, it looks like open 1 is our winner here. Where did you go? Yeah, alright. So, that's what we're gonna do. Great. What about when it... No. When it gets pushed in, I want a different... Oh, but I couldn't find one. I like this better. Let me cut. I like this better when it switches back from pressed to depressed. I also need to change... There we go. So that should change it back. Right. Okay, so now I just need a triggering event to cause it to switch back. The problem is I also need to tie the surrounding buttons to this one. So when this goes here, the surrounding ones go from here to here. I also need a sound effect for that, but I'm not going to subject you to me searching through that a second time. All right, apply. We'll figure something out. And then I need to remove this and still figure out what I'm going to do about you. What else do I've got here? Well, let me put another... I think it would actually help to put another one here somewhere. Right there? Yeah, okay. And then it's just, yeah, it's just lava and ice and... I guess I could use one of these. No, on second thought, I can't think of a use for them, especially because the color's not right for this shrine. The gate... I'm debating whether or not I want the gate. I could have the floor. All right, hold on. There was another gate. This one right here. This one or this one? If I take this one and I put it, let's say, right here. Then take the floor. And I run it. Yeah, let's say I do that to the floor. I'm gonna have to change this up a bit. Yeah. This side. So. And then. Okay. Okay. So, I don't even need to do that, really. I'll have to... Yeah, I'll have to replace it. Yeah, I don't have to have the closed gate here because the player won't be able to see it from... The player won't be able to see it from this spot. But once they get the buttons all pushed in correctly, this wall disappears. They walk over here, down into this one, and they get transferred to the next room. That works for me. And then I can have down here a similar thing. I can have the gate. Let's say I have the gate over here. I want to do that instead so I have room to expand this room because I want more stuff over there. But let's say... let's say it just comes down here like this. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Then I can just have a transfer point from room 4 to here, and they just walk in. How would I... Like this? No, I don't want to do that. Like that. Yeah. I can just put this behind it. Okay. Right here, like so. There we go. Okay. Awesome. All right. That's not going to work. Okay, sure. And then we'll just put... Yeah, let me get this squared away before I actually don't want to do that because I just said I want to put more room over here. I don't know, that makes it look a little lopsided. Yeah, that makes it look a little lopsided. I'll think of something. But for the moment, let me just cut this away here. Go. All right. Let me just cut that away. But I do still want the... I'll put it right there. Sure. So the player will spawn in here and come out and come down and around from the other room. Sure. Okay. I don't want to set up the transfer point yet because I might change things up, but that's fine. The problem with the ticking clock is that this room is in the same map. I could set it up. So that we stop the ticking clock once they transfer away, and when they come back through this transfer point, the music starts up. Or I could just have music. It would just be easier to have music. The ticking clock thing, removing background music and having just one small sound effect playing sets an atmosphere that I don't need to aim for in this puzzle. Maybe somewhere else, but for here, just having background music is fine. So I'm going to come back up here. The clock is there. It's fine. But we want... Where am I going to put you? I'll put you over here. Let's actually make some background music. So this event is just... Oh, I don't need to do that. Discard changes? Yes. I can just come in here, go to edit, autoplay background music, and pick a song. Pick something to play. This might work. Yeah, this might work. I want to make sure that there's no surprises in the music. This might work. Yeah, if the whole song is like this could work. Okay, yeah, sure, great. You win. You win. Background sound? Let's see what we've got here. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no! Oh, no! I have to do it. Oh my God. All right. But we'll turn it down a little. Oh, no. Maybe I don't want to play it as a background. Just the first room, right? Oh, no. I kind of really want to use it. Okay, all right. Now that I know it's there, I'll consider it. But let's... I don't see what I wanted now. Maybe this one. Just around the room you're in. That's not going to work, but... that might work. No, what I'd like is to have a bunch of cogs and like clock tower gears and stuff like that for the parallax, but I'll have to go looking for it if I want to do that. Let's see here. Encounters we're not going to bother with. Okay. So I think that's a good beginning. Obviously have to make the puzzles. I didn't even bother to do that. And of course, I still need the puzzles for these rooms. It's a long process that I haven't even really started yet. That needs to get done. But I feel better about this now than I did when I first made this shrine. So we'll end it here, and we'll pick it up next time. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Until next episode, stay safe, and God bless you.